Hello, dankest Dungeoneers. I'm your host, Get Good Fox. So we've got some news regarding the December update for Dankest Dungeon 2. It's going to be going to a brand new feature. There's a lot to read, so I'm going to paraphrase some of it, but I will read the actual patch notes word for word. So they're adding in an experimental branch. This is like a beta branch of the game or a public test realm. Basically, it's a copy of the game that you have to opt into to try and basically demo, and hopefully they can debug, or if it's super unbalanced, they can basically take a look at feedback for a new patch before they commit to making the live game, the normal game, up to this patch. So that's the first thing. The next thing, they're going on Christmas break, so they won't be able to do anything else until January. When they come back in January, they said that they're going to be having a roadmap of sorts. But over here, we got the instructions if you want to be part of the experimental branch. So remember, this is the game is currently exclusive to Epic Games during early access. So you open up Epic Games, go to your library, filter to show all games, search for Darkest Dungeon 2, and you're going to see a download for a brand new instance of Darkest Dungeon 2 called Darkest Dungeon 2 Experimental. It looks like this one right here. So this is the normal icon. The experimental one's going to have a blue tint and then the word experimental down below. And you just download it, and when you load that game up instead of this one, you'll be in the experimental patch level. So over here, once again, going to paraphrase because it's very lengthy. So this is the actual update, Torch and Trophy. This part here is talking about player profiles. These are basically new save files. They're going to let you have up to 10 of them, and you can give them different names. And basically, they're like, well, if someone wants to come over and try the game, they don't have to screw up your run because now you can have up to 10 different profiles, each with their own unique profile progression. Over here, they're talking about how they're going to show the changes to the game in the game. So you don't just have to read it on their website, you can also read it on the in-game area. And this is where we're going to pick up the actual word-for-word reading, because this is the first big-time change. The trophy system / mountain entry. Starting with this patch, you must mount a trophy on your stagecoach in order to enter the mountain. Trophies can only be obtained by slaying a regional boss. Remember that the region boss lives in a lair. To help you hunt down the bosses, all lairs will now be scouted by default, which means they'll always be revealed on the map. If you've never battled a lair before, it's basically a series of 3 battles of increasing difficulty, and the third one is a unique enemy, which is the regional boss of the area, and so now it sounds like you have to defeat at least one of them to get to the mountain. The choice of whether to attempt to slay the boss early in the expedition or later, but you must successfully slay at least one boss to tackle the mountain and win the run. Each boss has 2 different trophies that they can drop. These trophies can dramatically affect your heroes or the stagecoach, and we won't spoil it here. What happens if you don't have a trophy when you reach the mountain? Well, first of all, if you enter the last region before the mountain and you don't yet have a trophy, you'll be given a pop-up warning that you need to kill a boss in that region. But if you don't kill the boss and approach the final inn before the mountain, your expedition will conclude and you'll be shown the run over screen. Rest assured that all hope will be accrued to your profile as normal. So if you don't understand what they mean, they're basically saying you just get a game over, basically, if you don't have a trophy. My thoughts on this is it actually could be a blessing in disguise, because maybe we should be killing the boss all along in order to have a chance to defeat the boss, to find the mountain boss in the first place. Maybe we should be defeating these bosses to get powerful upgrades. Maybe it's a hint that that's what you should have been doing to begin with. So there's a new location type, the Oasis. At the Oasis, you may pay relics in order to relieve stress from one hero. This provides another weapon to combat stress and keep affinities trending in the happy direction. Stagecoach livery, which is a skin, right out in style. That's the most important thing. How can you defeat the boss if you're not stylish? As you advance your player profile, you will unlock new Stagecoach skins. You can toggle your livery by clicking a button on the Stagecoach status screen. The Infernal Flame in Darkest Dungeon 1 has a long tradition of dark runs, which is the name for when players actively snuff out their torch on purpose in order to elevate the challenge of the game. Enter the Infernal Flame. This Stagecoach upgrade unlocks at player level 12. Once unlocked, it will show up in the Academics cache in the Valley each time you start a new expedition. If you choose to mount this as a Stagecoach upgrade, the flame will be pegged at 1 for the rest of the run and can never fluctuate. This will increase the difficulty substantially. On the plus side, you can never run out and therefore never be ambushed by cultists from behind. If you mount the Infernal Flame, you probably should not bother with the assist encounters at all. Be warned, once you mount the Infernal Flame, you cannot remove it during that expedition, so it's a permanent decision for that run. Character skill changes, items, and whatnot. General combat. Fixed an issue with stacking buff and debuff values such as clotting powders, ounce of prevention not displaying correctly on mouse over. Fixed an issue where taunt tokens were incorrectly consumed by riposte. Fixed an issue with some resistance penalties, stun, move, debuff not being correctly calculated during a critical hit. Combat items. Pouch of Lie will clear corpses on a miss. Heroes, general. Chance for a critical hit to heal 1 stress has been raised from 50% up from 25%. Stun heroes that lose their turn will now receive 40% stun resist bonus until the start of their next turn. Fixed an issue with some combat items incorrectly consuming crit tokens such as Pouch of Lie, Chalk Dust. Combat items that deal no damage but apply DOT, stun, or debuff will still consume the crit charge as long as they benefit from the 20% resistance penetration granted by a critical hit. Grave Robber. Grave Robber's Dead of Night will now clear corpses on a miss, but will only provide the additional bonuses on a hit. Hellion. Wicked Hack Plus, damage slightly increased to better reflect her role as a damager. A Wicked Hack, I believe that's her basic everyday attack that she starts with. Wicked Hack Plus now applies a non-resistible 75% healing debuff on a target with a combo token. Iron Swan Plus, that's her front rank 2. That's her must be in front rank and hits specifically rank 4 ability. Damage slightly increased to better reflect her role as a damager. So I guess she was underperforming with damage. Iron Swan Plus now applies a combo token, I guess if they survive. Highwayman. Tracking Shot will now prevent the target from gaining Dodge and Dodge Plus tokens for 2 turns. Sounds useful against the cultists who often have Dodge tokens. Fixed an issue where Highway Robbery was not reporting the number of tokens that it destroys. Man-at-Arms. Crush damage slightly reduced to better reflect his role as a defender. Oh, he was overperforming, was he? Occultist. Malediction and Malediction Plus now applies DOTs when the target is damaged rather than hit. Non-damaging attacks will not trigger the effect, but DOT ticks will. Malediction DOT damage increased to 2 points. Malediction Plus now also reduces the target's bleed, blight, and burn resistance values by 20%. Weird Reconstruction and Weird Reconstruction Plus have been reworked. Base crit value was removed from the skill as this impacted both the bleed's duration and chance to resist. The skill can no longer use crit tokens. These also negatively impacted the bleed as above. The skill still has a 5%, 10% on an upgrade chance to critically heal as it did before. This is not reflected on the tooltip and is an unknown issue. Critical heal bonus raised to 100% up from 50%. The skill now has a 100% chance to critically heal when consuming 2 unchecked power. Sounds like you could have some massive swing heals in this case. Plague Doctor changes. Magnesium Rain will now clear corpses on a miss, similarly to the Leper's Purge. Monsters, general changes. Fixed an issue causing certain monster attacks, such as the Hatchetman's Finishing Blow, to fail to respect taunt tokens. Fixed an issue with hard mashes potentially spawning in early biomes. Fanatics. Ignited Flare's Searing Lunge now correctly applies burn to target. Lost Battalion changes. Minimum damage of skills has been adjusted, resulting in slightly higher than average damage values across the faction. I guess that makes sense. I've always felt the Lost Battalion was a little bit on they just didn't really lay out the damage. Not that I was complaining. The Swine. Fix an issue where Wilbur's shattering squeal was sometimes not an area of effect attack. Wilbur is now guaranteed to use obliterate body when he has a valid target for it. Diseases. Fix an issue where the brittle bones penalty for not displaying on the conditions tab. Hero Shrine and backstory adjustments. Highwayman Chapter 1. Rock throw no longer does any damage. Highwayman damage increased. Oh, so you got to bust them up in hand-to-hand combat. Highwayman Chapter 2. Change Stagecoach buffing logic. Stagecoach buffs now 2 instead of 1 per enemy. Move skill removed. Leper Chapter 2. Advisor Stab does more damage. Stress rebalancing. Whispered Plot won't trigger when only one advisor is left. Occultist Chapter 3. Ignore heals. More now. Gameplay changes. Friendly skills should no longer consume crit tokens when they are not supposed to. Trinket awarding and unlocking. Reduce trinket award rates due to awash in trinkets feedback. Oh yes, there are quite a bit of trinkets that you get, and I'm always trying to figure out what to dump over. This should also help strengthen the trinket buying mechanic. Also revise trinket unlock level to spread them out a bit more to ensure that there are no profile levels where nothing unlocks. Finally, moved class trinket unlocks to ensure that they are always after the class itself to stop the teasing. Ghoul is no longer missing its corpse occasionally. Fixed an issue within items that have a chance for plus or minus affinity, only giving negative if the relationship was at max positive. Fixed an issue with act outs not triggering a meltdown correctly if the stress was created on turn start. Stagecoach upgrade slot. They now unlock with profile level. A brand new profile will only have access to one upgrade slot. Progression tuning. Stretch out lower levels a bit more because some first runs were unlocking too many levels at once. Pricing adjustment to faction trinkets because for the same power they were half as pricey as non-faction epics. Fixed to cultist story scouting buff from loot and dagger in, so it actually scouts cultist territory. Layers are now auto-scouted as part of the new trophy feature. Removed ambush chance from the mountain biome. Oh, God. Interface. The minimap and character sheet can now be opened in the story screen by either right-clicking on their portraits or using the hotkey C and M, respectively. The minimap is now toggleable in the store and hospital. Oh, nice. That's always really good. I'm always trying to think of what I hate when I can't choose my path. Sometimes that's relevant to your decision making. Added biome progress label to show how far you're into the run you are. Quirk flavor text is now italicized. Biome progress and leagues to in UI are now hidden at the mountain. Correctly using the plural of leagues when you have 0 leagues remaining. Reformatted DOT tooltips when it has a chance to apply or not. Fix an issue with hero route preference UI remaining active in Valley after a run abandon. Hidden tokens should no longer appear briefly in combat. Fixed an issue with the target indicator link sometimes appearing in the wrong spot. Cured pop text should no longer play when locking quirks at the hospital. Fixed an issue with the destroy token effects tooltip to now show how many of them will be destroyed. Escape key should now work to close all UI elements and tabs across the game. Store glyphs now correctly show losing stress as good, which is gold, and gaining it is bad, which is blue. Fixed a soft lock issue when selecting cinematic replay and confession at the same time, and various UI fixes and other miscellaneous fixes. Added more hero barks and revives many of the existing ones. Hero barks are just the speech bubbles that pop up. Various typos fixed and language edits for more clarity. Changing languages should now happen immediately and doesn't require a restart. Fix an error related to attempting to apply start of round effects to a dead or dying actor. Added monitor numbers to selection drop-down text to differentiate identical monitors. Dungeon dialogue scrolling should feel better. Fix the visual issue with Hellion if it bleeds, making it difficult to see the enemy. Updated the art assets for the academic study node. Softlock fix for Man-at-Arms' second hero story combat. Fixed an issue with new quirks replacing and not respecting lock quirks. Various animation visual improvements and fixes. Various cleaning up around animation states for hero act out. Act outs is when like the two characters come together and some kind of event, be it positive or negative, occurs. Performing optimization across the game, particularly around the character sheet and relationship test screens. Fixed stagecoach, ink trail, VFX positioning. Fixed an issue with the character outline when viewing models in alt token view. Jumbo trunk item art has been found and implemented. Audio changes. Add driving music, bookmark support. The music will now continue where it left off rather than restarting. Get ready to enjoy all 25 minutes. Fixed return from valley combat narration, playing in-game results after defeating the mountain boss. Fix missing tooltip sound effects for mastery points when driving UI biome goal reward. Fix missing tooltip sound effects on combat mutator and both action health bars. Don't allow stagecoach upgrades, screen close sound effect spam while closing. Fix some minor missing sound effects. Fix enemy dying from DOT being counted by narration as suicide. Fix boss battle narration condition so it plays on the first fight. DOT narration should no longer play a second time if they have the DOT already. Fix for DOT narration playing for heal over time effects. Fix the typewriter sound effects for all barks, driving, combat, story, choice, etc. And finally, the academic speaks. That's the new ancestor. He's the narrator. A variety of new narrator lines has been added with emphasis on situational combat triggers. We will continue to add more over the course of early access. So, as I said, it is a lot, but thankfully, with a little bit of paraphrasing, we definitely cut some of the reading out of there. But now you know, and remember to emphasize, these are not going into the live game yet. They are going into the experimental branch. So these are subject to change based on the feedback they get. It might get more difficult. It could get less difficult. I have a very strong feeling that one thing they probably won't back off of is the trophy mounting for the mountain boss. I have a feeling that is something they definitely want to happen. And like I said, it could be a good thing. Could be a positive development. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments section. Do you agree or disagree with these changes? Are you excited for them? Are you going to download the experimental branch and try it out for yourself? Let me know in the comments section. Anyways, like the video if it was informative. Subscribe for future Darkest Dungeon 2 content. Of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.